deadly that it actually absolutely crushed the Tommy gun in these field tests essentially in Vietnam. That is how lethal it is. And the mainstay of the AR-15 is semi-automatic fire. There have been different versions that allowed you to switch to automatic fire fully, then to something called burst fire, which allows for 3 rounds at a time to be discharged with one pull of the trigger. But in the field of battle, when our soldiers are laying their lives on the line, semi-automatic fire is almost universally preferred. And while they've gotten rid of they've switched from fully automatic to burst fire, it's still the mainstay is semi-automatic fire. So do not let anybody say, well, it's not a military weapon because it doesn't have a selector switch. It would be less lethal a weapon probably if it were fully automatic and not semi-automatic. All right, so I've made my point. This is a very detailed report. You can see it. You should. I thought this was an anchoring. This enlightened, taught me about what the weapon was by the most independent, most reliable, and most objective source, our Department of Defense. And here it is being used. It's probably an M4. You see that's the AR-15 platform. That's recently in Afghanistan, probably. Couldn't swear to it, but it was from the jungles of Iraq to the streets of Fallujah, and right now, guess what? There are Ukrainian soldiers bunkered down, waiting for the world's second most powerful nation, and they are armed with AR-15s, Ukrainian version. All right. Now, we also knew we had to learn about the families, a little bit about the families. And so there are some freedoms. Why do people lay it on the line? Because there are freedoms worth fighting for and protecting, even if they're life-threatening situations on battlefields abroad. So I want to take just a glimpse to the families, not these families who I love, but the people I never knew. And because they deserve to stand here and say, you know what? I got robbed. So let's go to just this. This is Vicky Soto, okay? Obviously, her most elegant picture. Vicky was the oldest sister of Jillian and Carly and Matthew. And she was, you can see why a first grader might kind of want to be in her good graces and enjoy going to school. And on December 14, 2012, Vicky was all holiday spirit. She was, in fact, she was standing in the kitchen of their home where they all shared, right? And Donna, her mom's a nurse, and Vicky was already fully dressed with an outfit that she thought the kids would love, and that included boots with relatively, I don't know if they're high heels. They always explain to me as 2-inch heels. But what Vicky did, because Carly, her younger sister, was in high school and sleeping in the basement, what Vicky did was she made sure when she came down at 6 a.m. to stomp on the floor, because she knew it would shatter, Carly awake, and that was very pleasing to Vicky. And there she was in the pitch black. She lived in Stratford, so she had a long drive to the school, but she was always getting up in the dark and coming home in the dark. And she was really, really excited because the kids were making gingerbread cookies in her classroom. Very excited. This was all Vicky, and she had set it up like a perfect. Everybody had a schedule to come in because she didn't want all the kids and all the parents in the same time making gingerbread cookies. And that was Vicky. And we know because of what was blasting in the car that was picked up later, that all the way from Stratford to Sandy Hook, Vicky was blasting Michael Bublé's Christmas carols. Christmas Carol. I never heard him, but apparently it was pretty loud. So that was what life, that's just a snapshot of what life looked like for one person, Vicky Soto. This is Lauren Rousseau. Lauren was sort of on her way. She was a hard worker, a hustler, somebody who didn't spend a lot of idle time sitting around and complaining about things. She was a hard worker, trying to get through life early on, and she was trying to realize I say trying to get through life. Her whole life was ahead of her. I don't mean it's like she was looking back. She was trying to find a job as a teacher because that was her lifelong dream, and she was also working at Starbucks at the same time. So on this day, she was called in as a substitute, which of course was great because the normal teacher that would have been there that Friday had a appointment for an ultrasound who was pregnant, and so so Lauren said,